What's up, guys? Here with you, FC Wonder Kid, episode 131, here with my guy, Bretton. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm like a kid on Christmas with the U17 World Cup started. I know that most of these rosters, you won't see a lot of these players ever again, but there's always those gems that come on out, and we're already starting to see it. But we've got so much more on the docket. We've got Tottenham, we've got Newcastle, we've got UCL, we've got all sorts of stuff. I'm really excited to be here. Episode 131. Let's get started, man. You ready to go?
It's true. Never forget when England played Spain in that iconic final that Phil Foden, what a player he was in that Under-17 World Cup that England won. But let us know down below, Wonder Kids that are balling out that we haven't mentioned in previous podcasts and that you think we will be mentioning in episode 131. Because I can say, people, it's Noah Darvish that's coming, and it's many more players that we're going to be mentioning in this podcast. But yes, Tottenham. It's a question. Will they be ending in the top four? And I think it is yes. What do you reckon, Bretton, with what's happening?
You think it's a yes?
I think it's a yes.
That didn't. Wow. Okay. I think a tough reality is set in here. Unfortunately, it's the reality of injuries. Injuries do happen, and no amount of happiness or no amount of posturing has Big Ange kind of ready for this. I think that loss was kind of a microcosm of maybe things that were going to show themselves later on in the season anyway. But Madison down for a while. Van de Ven, I think, is obviously the punch in the, oh man, that's the punch in the face. Romero's dumb red card that puts him out for a while. But these injuries we know are part of the game. But it just doesn't feel like Spurs is going to have the depth to be able to deal with this. And they're out long enough that these fixtures are coming thick and fast. I just don't. I don't know. And I'm gonna say third, fourth at best. Beyond this, depending on whether or not Madison and the crew can come back real healthy. And man, it started off okay against Wolves. It's true. But nothing prepares you. I don't care how many injuries you've got to give up 2 injury time goals again, the second fixture in a row. To give up 2 injury time goals to Wolves,
hey, but they
tells
were
me
with 9 men. They were with 9 men against Chelsea.
It's true.
It's true
that I hear that.
And I do think that the game against Wolves, they do rely a lot on their fullbacks with Udogie and obviously with James Maddison. But I do think that Wolves deserved that win because Wolves right now at home, Molyneux is becoming, like Aston Villa, a bit of a fortress, okay? And against big teams, against the Big Six, Wolves at home in 6 games in 2023 in the Premier League, they got 5 wins. And the last 2 were against Man City and against Tottenham. 2 teams that are balling out in the Premier League. So Pedro Neto, it's working out. Sean Dyche football, okay? I like what I see. I like what I see. But about Tottenham, I completely agree with what you're saying, Bretton. James Maddison out until 2024 is a huge loss for this team. This was literally one of the best players bought in the transfer summer market, okay? And it was Maddison has 3 goals, 5 assists in the Premier League. He was absolutely vital. But I do think we might be talking a lot more about Brennan Johnson. He costs 40 million. That's an important type player that can appear in these types of moments, okay? And I like to see Pedro Porro. No Udogie, but Pedro Porro was very involved in the progressive passes and how the team built up to. So I think he's going to be a player that will be shining ahead in this season. But yes, Burton, you said it. Tottenham need defensive depth, especially now when we see Mickey van de Ven out, Romero with a red card, and we obviously need a new striker too with Tottenham, okay? Richarlison is not enough. Son is a lot of times playing striker, but they need to fix it, okay? And honestly, we're going to be mentioning 5 strikers or a lot of strikers that you must know in this podcast ahead, but this is something that they got to address with Ange Postecoglou, that Ange Postecoglou has had the best start I've ever seen from a Tottenham manager, okay? Winning the manager of the month in August, September, October. That is unreal. And improving players like Papsar, Bissouma, they're looking unreal. Pedro Porro was once called one of the worst transfers done by Tottenham. Ridiculous. And Ange Postecoglou is proving all the haters wrong. A new culture is being built. And it's unfortunate, those injuries.
It is unfortunate, as we'll talk about Newcastle in a second, because they're and Manchester United. I mean, they've got injury lists mega long. We don't talk about United's that much because of how much money they've spent to assemble that squad. But listen, Spurs, they're going to be missing a facilitator, and that's what Maddison was. I mean, he was glue. He was absolute glue. And now I'm with you. Brennan Johnson, great talent. Kulusevski, a little bit one-directional at times, but he can have a game when he wants to. And so, all that's great, but who is the facilitator? Who is the organizer? Who is the one that makes sure that each of those guys get a chance moving forward? And Big Ange, that's going to be a massive challenge for him. And, you know, we talked about, obviously, Nico Jackson turning up the heat for Chelsea to beat Spurs late on against 9 men. But it was Big Ange still playing a high line man, offering up that open goal to him. So I really think Big Ange is going to learn here. And it's just amazing what 1 week does. You know, it's just amazing what 1 week does, considering the tune that you and I have had within 1 week. And I don't think it's a waffling type of situation.
I still have it, mate.
Yeah.
Wolves is a tough team to beat at home. And then, like the Chelsea game, look, it happens when you have with 9 men. Situations happen. 2 big injuries with Mickey van der Ven and Maddison. Udogie out. And then you get another player sent out. It just happens. I completely understand. And it's the first time that he's back-to-back losses and since he's arrived too. So, Big Ange, keep going. Keep going.
And Vicario has asserted himself well even through this, in my opinion. So, I think you're right. You're good to be rosy about it, or you're good to be confident about it. They didn't get this far to not get, knocked around a little bit and be able to come back. But it is really, really interesting because these are players that will be out as the fixtures grow and grow and grow. I mean, in terms of 3 games in a week, we're talking holiday season. You need these players back, but you also can't rush them back. And that's the thing. And that's the difference between a Manchester City and Spurs right now, is that clear depth, right? That clear depth behind where, okay, it might not be like for like, but they all know their roles. And a lot of this squad is still getting used to them. And I just got to bring up Newcastle for a second, because Newcastle's literally going through kind of a baby version, or pretty much the exact version of this whole thing. They have 12 first squad players, first team players. They have 12 players out the door. Almiron being the latest to fall out, to the point where Kieran Trippier, after the loss to Bournemouth, Kieran Trippier got on got into a little bit of a fracas.
He spoke to the fans.
Exactly, spoke to the fans, and he said, "What do you want from us? We're injured. We're playing our best," which is very true. But listen, one thing I got to bring up about Newcastle that Eddie Howe definitely needs to fix: they have won 2 out of 9 road games. 2 out of 9 road games. That's previous to this list growing longer than, a starting 11.
And you're including Champions League.
I'm including Champions League. They still have work that has to be done. But here's the interesting situation with Newcastle. With Spurs, you're going to see it as well. When these players fall, right? Somebody else needs to step up. And it was great to see, even if it was a very tiny silver lining for Newcastle, it was great to see their academy gem, Lewis Millie, 17 years old, midfielder, get his first Premier League start. So I hope, that I think anyone with Champions League ambitions, they probably would rather not be starting Lewis Millie just yet. But listen, what is it? Volatility breeds opportunity, right? Craziness breeds opportunity, and that's what's going to happen in these situations for Spurs, for Newcastle, hell, even for Manchester United.
You've said a lot. You've said a lot and compared a lot of situations in the sense that Tottenham and Newcastle are in the situation of fighting for top 4. And I do believe that they're at that level. Man United too, but Man City, the depth they have made. I think it's Man City and Real Madrid, the best 2 teams in the world right now in terms of depth. The players they have, Modric is on the bench at Real Madrid, and in Man City, you can have like an Alvarez, a Doku, a Grealish. There's no space for everyone. Foden, someone has to be on the bench too. So if Man City win the Premier League this season, Ruben Dias will be winning the Premier League every season he's been at Man City with 4. And it's the first time ever in Premier League history that a team wins 4 Premier League titles in a row. That solidifies 2, Guardiola being the best manager ever. But with top 4, with Tottenham, I believe Tottenham will be finishing top 4. And look, from how things look, I believe Newcastle will be finishing 2 ahead of Man United. It's mad to me, the stat that, Erik ten Hag in his last 5 games, he's got 4 wins. That is propaganda talking bad of him. No, mate. The propaganda is saying that where is Varane? Why is Varane on the bench, Erik ten Hag? And Ten Hag justified, it is about tactical reasons. Is it? What?
Explain it.
Explain it, exactly. Varane is one of the best center backs in the world when he is in form. Why isn't he? Why isn't Casemiro in form? It's embarrassing. And Winter Højlund, 9 Premier League goals. No, 9 Premier League games, Winter Højlund, 0. Zero Premier League goals. And that can happen. And when I see Man United play, I don't think it's Winter Højlund's fault not scoring those goals. He does those runs. He has the expectation to get the ball, but it doesn't land. Anthony, Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, one of the best players at Man United, but you expect more, because that's the heritage of Man United. Top 4. Well, Tottenham is completely there. Chelsea, though, Breton.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, because we're talking Tottenham here, top 4. But if we're talking Tottenham here, top 4, we got to know how Chelsea's doing, because that was a big game last week. Do you believe Chelsea will be top 6?
Top 6. Wow. Where did I have them in my predictions? I think I said 7th or 8th. I had them pretty far down there. So no, I'm not convinced. They didn't necessarily play better than Spurs. I think the Romero red card obviously influenced everything. I think they were also wasteful. Hell, there were Chelsea supporters that felt like that was a loss, right? Even though they wound up winning 4-1 or whatever the heck it was. It was a kind of a farce of a game, in my opinion. So we're obviously recording this before the Manchester City game. My guess is that they'll likely be humbled from that. And if not, we have not seen Chelsea even close to their best.
Exactly.
Yet.
Exactly.
And I don't know whether or not that's going to come anytime soon, because I think there's still a lot of craziness to work through on that roster. But you've obviously got signs pointing in the right direction with some of those players. We obviously know Cole Palmer is one of them, right? And Cole Palmer is nothing if not aggressive and straight for the W. Like, that's what the kid wants, and he's going to go for it. It's whether or not he has a ceiling, and we haven't really found that ceiling just yet with them. And whether I like it. I like what's going on at Chelsea. I think the Manchester City game is going to say a lot. But top 6 in this field, because we're not even talking about Liverpool. We're not even talking about Arsenal.
They played well.
I mean,
I say top 6. Why? Because in this sense of they played against Arsenal really well. I think it was the keeper's fault, Sanchez, not winning that game. Yeah. And against now Tottenham, if it was 11 against 11, I do think they wouldn't be looking bad. Against teams that they need to score a goal, that they need a striker, that they close the gaps really well, like a Brentford team, like a Wolves team. They struggle, Chelsea. Yeah. But an open field game, top teams playing against each other, I think Chelsea has a chance. And Chelsea, why do I think Chelsea, with Pochettino, has a real chance of finishing top 6? It's the list of players. once Enzo, once Caicedo, once Cole Palmer that wanted to be a player that started in the Premier League. He didn't accept to be a substitute at Man City. Guardiola stated he wasn't happy being a substitute for Mahrez. He says, I want to be that guy. I want to be a starter because that's what Southgate needs to be impressed, okay, right now. You got Henderson, Calvin Phillips being called up for England, James Ward-Prowse balling out, and he still doesn't get the selection. Cole Palmer knows what he needs. And I believe by the end of the season, if Chelsea is in much better form than it is possible, this is a player called up for the Euros. Enzo, Caicedo, Cole Palmer, Levi Colville, Reece James. These 5 players will have to be vital for Chelsea this season. And Mykhailo Mudryk, second half of the season, I want to see the same thing Rashford did last season. From January onwards, Rashford balled out. I'm expecting that for Mudryk because that's what more than 70 million costs. I know it's variables, but that's what it costs.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Chelsea their ceiling for me is 6th place. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I don't see it much higher. And you have to. I mean, they've built themselves quite a hole here. To get out of.
Premier League has
I'm
Aston Villa, has Brighton, has a Newcastle. Like the Premier League has never been as stacked as it is right now. Even a West Ham spent all the money that they sold from Declan Rice, 160 million, and Kudus, Edson Alvarez, and Ward-Prowse. So the Premier League,
cutthroat.
It's cutthroat. But let us know down below, what are your predictions of the Premier League? What is your top 4 with Tottenham? Let us know what do you think is going to be happening with Tottenham with Ange Postecoglou. But this podcast, we wanted to give a special highlight to the underdogs of the world of football that are leading the top leagues. Improbable league leaders. Okay, they're still not winners. But in this video, we're going to be talking if we believe that Girona can win La Liga, if Nice will win Liga, and if Bayer Leverkusen will win the Bundesliga. Also giving the hints of who we think is favorite. Right now, come on, Ligue 1. It's looking really good with Nice. Unbeaten now, Nice. 7 wins, 5 draws, unbeaten right now. Only 4 goals conceded. And look, this defense of Nice that is unbelievable cost them 16 million with transfers with Melvin Bart, Todibo, Dunt, and Bulka. Bulka, the goalkeeper, only cost them 2 million. 2 million. And this is the best defense in the top 5 leagues. Nice. Francesco Farioli. So
yeah, Wonder Kid manager. I'm pretty sure he's 36, 37 years
34.
old. 30. Oh gosh. 34. Oh man, that is young, man. We got a new Nagelsmann on hand.
It's not Will Still, but it's Farioli.
Yeah, true. And then the funny thing is, Will Still the other day couldn't make the game, so his brother stepped in, right?
Hey, and he looks identical to him.
How funny is that?
I thought they were twins.
It's crazy.
I thought they were twins.
That's awesome. But listen, Nice has PSG. Nice has Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe scoring his 16th hat trick of his career, and still Luis Enrique is angry at him because he feels like he can do other things, which is not exactly a false statement, right? To say, but exactly. But PSG is flying domestically right now. Nice has a very stout defense, and I bet you Francesco Farioli would like to buy some goals. Alex, I think he would like somebody.
They did get Teremoffi.
He would like to get. They did get Teremoffi, and unfortunately, he has not been the Teremoffi of late last season or the Teremoffi of Lorient. He's a little bit streaky, and as of right now, I mean, he had been coming off the bench recently. So he really, if he can get an offensive weapon to step up and start scoring goals without obviously sacrificing Dante and Todibo's wonderful center back partnership there. Then they'll be pretty good. But I think out of the ones we're going to talk about, I think this one is probably least likely. And yes, I'm saying least likely for Nice to beat PSG over. I think Girona has more of a chance to win La Liga than Nice has to win Lyon. at this moment in time.
I love that bold statement. But Nice is balling out. We both agree with that. And they do have 5
Absolutely.
draws. They do have 5 draws. So they've been helped a lot with these draws to be still unbeaten with this. But Terem Murphy, going with Breton was saying, Terem Murphy cost Nice 22.5 million for Lorient, and he's had 3 goals and 2 assists. Who's seen him last season would expect him to have a higher number of goals, which I believe that can happen maybe in the second stage of this season. So we do agree that Nice will be finishing top 3 probably.
Yes. And I would love to see Farioli use one of the best young players in Ligue 1 a little more. And he has started to, so I shouldn't yell at him too much. But Badruddin Bouanani is a great, fun talent to watch. So if you're watching someone beyond Kefren Turam, because every Premier League team wants him essentially, Badruddin Bouanani, winger, can also play right back. He's definitely one you're going to want to watch. Hopefully Farioli leans into him a little more this season. And they've also got Jeremy Boga, who before Ademola Lookman was Atalanta's superstar before moving over here. So I love this team. They just need to start scoring goals.
And these defensive players, they're all under 24. Yeah, Melvin Barto, Dibo Bulka, and Kefri Turam. That Kefri Turam, one of the best CDMs to get. That's why he was called up for France. That's the level if you know this French national team. But now when you have Warren Zaire-Emery at 17 being called up, I completely agree. PSG are favorites to win Liga, and Mbappe has 6 goals scored in his last 4 games. He feels the pressure, especially after seeing that Ballon d'Or ceremony. He must be the best player in the world, not just for France, which I think he's the best international player, but for PSG right now. 2 goals scored in the Champions League? That can't be the case. He needs more output in Liga and in the Champions League too, because it's not a farmers league, but he's clearly better than everyone around him. Clearly. And that's the level too. But we believe PSG will be winning Ligue 1. But Nice, really going bold.
They are.
Secondly, here with Girona. Girona is what a season that Girona is doing, okay? Top of La Liga against Barca, against Real Madrid, and against Atletico that has Griezmann. Top form, okay? I might say top 5 player in the world right now in terms of form. And Savio is one of the best players in La Liga because Girona has one of the best wingers, young wingers under 23 in the world right now with Savio, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Breton?
19.
19.
This kid couldn't even get a sniff of PSV's first team last season when he was on loan there. So he's on loan from Troy. Troye, I don't know how to say it, but and he has been absolutely phenomenal. He's leading La Liga in expected assists. He also has 4 assists to go with that. I think with 4 goals, right?
4 goals.
If I'm not mistaken. But for those that are not in tune with La Liga, or they only watch Real Madrid and Barcelona, which is understandable. But Girona, okay, they have Montilivi is their stadium. It seats 13,000 people. Okay, it is a beautiful city, about an hour away from Barcelona. It is Catalan, and they were newly promoted, and they have only been in La Liga. This is their 4th season. 4th season. They went down and went back up. The highest they've ever finished is 10th. And in 13 games, they've got 11 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and they are outscoring Real Madrid and Barcelona. I don't know what else you want to say. I mean, I think Michel is their coach. I don't know what else you can say. Either this is the most fairy tale
and Artem Dovbyk.
First 13 games.
What a player that they've got.
I mean,
7 goals, 4 assists. That's an elite output. This is the thing about Girona. They're first in La Liga, and they have references, stars that are proving themselves. Eric Garcia, what a decision to go to the Girona. Savio, 4 goals and an assist. Alex Garcia got called up for Spain. Completely deserved because he's having a great season. Jan Cotto, Dele Blind shining. I'm really happy for Girona because, yes, I don't think that they will be winning La Liga 2. I'm sorry if you're clicking this video because you think the unexpected United leaders right now are going to be winning.
Yep.
But it's true. What Girona is doing should be highlighted because it's elite. They haven't spent as much money as other teams in La Liga even. Like
Nowhere close.
Nowhere close. And two, Girona has the same owners as Man City. Yep. And Man City knows how to do business. Just like Girona knows how to do business. Sheikh Mansour. Guys, he's an entrepreneur. He was ahead of his time. When he invested in Man City, look, it was a big investment, big time. But now it's profitable. Girona, same thing. Well, I believe a lot of Girona, close to Barca.
Yeah, it is. It's close to Barca. It is the one I would like to see out of these three the most happen. It is the biggest underdog story out of these three. It is the smaller club out of these three. Not in stature. I just mean simply in terms of monetary value. But they have used the loan market. They have used the City Football Group tiers, right? The different clubs. I'm going to say it to expert level. Alex Garcia was once on the books at Manchester City, right? And now he's called up to, as you mentioned, to the Spanish national team. You also have who's their midfielder? Yangel Herrera used to be NYCFC. I believe he won MLS Cup with them. He's been great in his role. I'm not saying he's the best in La Liga, but he has been great. The biggest, most money that they have shelled out for a player has been for Artem Dovbyk. Right, who killed it with Dnipro in the Ukrainian Premier League. But he has also formed a wonderful partnership with a fellow Ukrainian in Viktor Saigankov. And it is just a wonderful collection of players that they've brought in. They brought in Pablo Torre and Eric Garcia on loan from Barcelona. They've got Jan Couto, who was with Braga last season, but also part of the City Football Group family. So this whole collection is not built probably for a 3, 5, 7-year run. So they got to throw everything at this particular season, not monetarily, but everything they can to keep this tight-knit group together and keep them producing. And I just got to say, they have a collection of two of the most exciting young fullbacks in La Liga right now. In Arnaud Martinez, who is homegrown, Girona grown, and then they plucked from La Fabrica, from Real Madrid, they plucked Miguel Gutierrez, who both you and I are incredibly high on. So the just really expert level running of this club. And I have to say it, just to put it in a framework, right? This 11 wins in their first 13 games, 2 points ahead of Real Madrid at the top of La Liga table. This matches the best start ever in Diego Simeone's career at Atleti. That's how big this beginning for Girona has been. Somebody that has been at the charge and literally taken Atleti to new levels. They have already matched his best start ever in La Liga. So long may it continue, Girona, because we need a little shakeup, don't we, in La Liga?
It's true. I do believe that Girona will be finishing top 4, and that is a bold talk to have, okay? Because La Liga, it's Barca, it's Real Madrid, it's Atletico, and it's Real Sociedad, one of the best teams in the world. I've seen it in the Champions League in person. So Girona, keep going bold, and if they finish top 3, it's an elite statement by the City-owned team, okay? Unreal to see what they're doing. Real Madrid does have Jude Bellingham out the next 2 weeks, okay? It's not easy if you're a Real Madrid fan. And Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, what a game they had. What a game they had this week.
Absolutely.
Rodrigo with 2 goals and 2 assists. It's exciting times in La Liga.
And before we move on from here, Ukrainians, I just got to bring this up because it's not every day you get a collection of Ukrainians doing as well as they've been doing. But Dovbyk and Saigankov, Lunin. Over in the Premier League, Everton, who, by the way, is not a relegation team this season. They're actually pretty good these days. They had a goal from Mykolenko, I think his second goal in a row. And you had Zinchenko kicking in a nice little goal for Arsenal. So any Ukrainians in the comments, I mean, this is a wonderful thing, especially all things considered. Just to see this this nation producing some good results this past weekend. But Girona, man, yeah, I think Real Madrid and Barcelona, Girona can
Top
only
two.
hope that there's a cannibalization, just the clubs just eat at each other. Atleti beats Real, Real beats Barca, Barca beats, and so on and so forth. And maybe, who knows, Girona comes out unscathed. Their only loss this season is to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
3 goals suffered. And Girona, 6 wins in a row. 15 goals scored in their last 6 games, okay? This
So
was
cool.
really good things by Girona. But let us know what you think from La Liga down below. But the last league that has an improbable league leader right now, it's the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen, okay? Bayer Leverkusen right now have 16 games, 15 wins, and 55 goals scored, okay? This is unreal stats by Bayer Leverkusen that have Xabi Alonso on the helm. Xabi Alonso right now is one of the best managers in the world. That's why he's the top candidate for Real Madrid, and that's why Boniface, Grimaldo, Wirtz, Frimpong, all these players are balling out because they have an elite coach that knows how to develop young players. Let's see with Bellingham, Vinicius. I think Xabi Alonso will be coaching these types of players. I really believe
Yeah. And we got to shout out Alex Grimaldo, right? He got his first call up, if I'm not mistaken.
First
right
called
about
up
that?
for Spain. And what I got to say about this Xabi Alonso style of play has 2 defenders with Jeremy Frimpong and Grimaldo with 8 goal involvements in the league. They're top 2 right now in the top 5 leagues in terms of defenders with goal involvements. 8.
Amazing.
8. Frimpong and Grimaldo. And shout out to Di Marco and Dumfries that both have 5 goal involvements too. I think they're one of the best fullback duos in the world. So it's with Grimaldo, Frimpong, Di Marco, Dumfries. Elite fullback duos. Definitely in the top 5 in the world.
I mean, we have to start thinking about the future when it comes to Leverkusen. And I think while Girona is the team I would like to see last the longest at the tippy top of La Liga, I think it's pretty unrealistic to think that they're going to win. Leverkusen, obviously, out of these 3 teams we have mentioned, have the best chance.
Out of Nice,
now,
Girona, Leverkusen.
Now, Harry Kane is likely going to have completely other plans for Bayer Leverkusen. But as of right now, Leverkusen is playing very attractive football. I think they're favorites to win the Europa League, and they are favorites to
win the
maybe not
Europa
favorites.
League, Breton. That's bold. Bold.
It is bold. It is bold. And it's how long can you keep the band together, right? Because Xabi Alonso is definitely already receiving wonderful sweet nothings in his ear when it comes to Real Madrid. I'm 100% certain with that, even though I have no claims to back that up. But also, you have to think Victor Boniface, Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong. I mean, these are 3 players that are going to go for beaucoup bucks in the very near future.
Do you think Bayer Leverkusen will be winning their first trophy this century with Xabi Alonso this season?
I think it's put up or shut up, because I don't think that after this season, I don't think the Bayer Leverkusen is going to be around.
Wirtz out,
in the
Xabi
same,
Alonso
in the
out,
same
Boniface out?
Exactly.
All 3 of them?
Exactly. Their values have never been higher. So you'd almost be dumb not to look at that if you're looking to sustain a strong top 3 team. Yeah. And the question to me,
I was surprised.
Question from me to you is, what would Boniface, what would he get in this market after his ridiculous start to the season for them?
Boniface,
what do you think?
is up 60 million most definitely, okay? If a team that spent 20 million plus 7 in variables from Royal St. Gilles
was.
Wirtz more than 70, 80 million. I know his his preference is for Barca, but it will be very difficult for a team like Barca that has Gavi, Pedri. It will be difficult for them to get the funds to get a player like Wirtz too. But yes, we're mentioning Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah. I agree with you. I think Leverkusen is the most likely team to win the league out of Girona and Nice too, because they have Xabi Alonso that knows this team playing elite football. They're the top team in terms of goals scored in the top 5 leagues. I know Nice is the one that has less goals conceded, but Leverkusen, it's so impressive what they're doing. And I wanted to give a special credit to Bayern Munich that is not making things easy for Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen only has 1 draw this season, unbeaten in 16 games, but Bayern Munich only has 2 draws. 2 draws. One of them with Bayer Leverkusen. So it's not they're not facilitating things. And Bayern Munich has Kane balling out and Sane. Sane deserves a lot more credit for what he's doing this season for Bayern Munich. He's got 11 games, 8 goals, 6 assists right now. And Bayern needed him. They needed a winger like this. And Germany need a winger like this next to Musiala and Wirtz if they're going to do something with Julian Nagelsmann in the next Euros. So I wanted to give special credit to Sane. I do believe Bayern Munich are still favorites right now to win the Bundesliga. Yes. I think that should be a fact right now. But Leverkusen are making things very difficult. I completely think that Harry Kane's the best striker in the world in terms of form right now. Okay, I do think Haaland is the best striker, but right now in form, it's Kane, and the second best striker in the Bundesliga, no doubt in my mind, is Boniface. It's between him and Openda, but I go Boniface 100%. And for him to do that in his first season in the Bundesliga from Royal St. Gilloise, big credit to him. The future.
The thing, why I'm going to put Harry Kane over Erling Haaland right now is simply because he's so complete. I mean, he does it all. He can do it all. And if he remains healthy, Harry Kane really does have a incredibly legitimate shot to break Robert Lewandowski's single-season Bundesliga scoring record that was set only a couple seasons ago. I believe it's 41. And Harry Kane already has 17. He's got 10 goals in his last 4 games. So let's do some math, right? There's 23 games left. He's got 17 on the season, which, oh, by the way, Harry Kane already has more goals than those that won the Golden Boot last season in the Bundesliga.
16 goals with Füllkrug and Nkunku.
And there's 23 games remaining, so we're talking about 25 goals in 23 games. This is doable. This is incredibly doable. And what a way to, you leave essentially your boyhood club. You leave Spurs, where you're a legend, and you go to Bayern and you just hit the ground running. No issues whatsoever.
You know why, Bretton? It's because Bayern Munich is an iconic team with number 9s. If you're a world-class number 9, the best team that you can be in the world right now, it's Bayern Munich. 5 years ago, it was the same answer. 10 years ago, it could have been 2 the same answer, but definitely 5 years ago with Lewandowski, 2. He was the best replacement possible for Robert Lewandowski. Harry Kane. And that's why he's the most informed striker in the world with 11 games and 17 goals scored in the Bundesliga. Elite stuff.
The consistency of Harry Kane is just unbelievable. I mean, he's now 11 seasons in a row. He has averaged 34 goal involvements. And that's counting this season, which has 23 games left. So we're not even counting a half of a season so far. And if you take his worst season, it was injury-riddled, which I believe he had 22 goal involvements, and that was like 10 years ago or 11 years ago.
No,
I mean, Harry Kane's consistency is just rock solid, and it's funny. Like, he gets injured, he comes back, and he just gets pissed and scores even more and assists even more, and I'm here for it. I mean, this is pretty amazing stuff, and what a time. He's got to keep this going for another, less than a year, because this is probably the best shot ever that England has had to win the Euros.
Well said.
And
well said. Because Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane, I believe, right now in form, they're 2 players that will be in the top 5 of the Ballon d'Or next season, and they're both English. Bellingham and Kane, elite what they're doing, and I think in the Euros for the bookies right now, England are favorites. So, and I do believe it's a lot from what Harry Kane is doing with Bayern Munich. But let us know down below. Do you believe Girona will win La Liga? Do you believe Leverkusen will win the Bundesliga? Or do you believe Nice will win Liga? Let us know down below. And don't forget to like this video for more videos like this of improbable winners, topic-based videos that we give our opinions about what is happening in the world of football right now. But predictions. This is a lot of predictions will be in this podcast. We still got Brasileirão to talk. We got a bit of strikers knowledge to give to you. Go see the timestamps if you want to see those topics. But early Champions League predictions in terms of who will pass every group. Okay, every group.
Yeah.
It will be difficult to do these predictions because there's some difficult choices to be made. But I do believe we'll be getting more than 50% definitely right, okay? More than 50% most definitely right. But let us know down below in this video, in the comment section on YouTube, your predictions from Group A to Group H of who will be going through in the Champions League. Group A, so Breton, we have Bayern Munich, Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Man United. Bayern with 12 points, Copenhagen 4, Galatasaray 4, and Man United down with 3 points. Is Man United even going to get Europa League, Breton?
It depends on how bad the injury is for Højlund. Højlund obviously limped off at Luton, and so did Christian Eriksen. So their list just keeps growing on, and I don't even know what to say anymore about that. And also, they just lost to Copenhagen. So I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it's Bayern, and I still back, even though Galatasaray is also losing these days after not improbably losing for a long period of time. I am still gonna say it is Bayern first, which is already set in stone, and Galatasaray going through.
Man United's only hope is literally the Champions League, in my view, with Ten Hag. He must go through in the Champions League. If this happens, I do believe his job is under risk. And if he doesn't even get Europa League, that can happen. We saw Rooney Bargi scoring that late winner. It can happen. Copenhagen going third. It would be very, very bad. I'm going to say Bayern Munich finishing first in Group A. And out of hope, because if it doesn't happen, it's a complete Armageddon at Old Trafford. I'm going to say Man United second. And it's a bold take right now because they are bottom of this group. But Group B, so we have Arsenal, PSV, Lens, and Sevilla. Right now, the group has Arsenal first with 9 points, Lens with 5, PSV with 5, and Sevilla with 2. How are we thinking here, Breton?
I'm still sticking with it. I think Arsenal wins the group, and PSV Eindhoven comes from that tough early start to UCL life again. I think that they will come through and finish in second. And just a quick little heat check on PSV Eindhoven. We're now up at 12 wins and 12 in the Eredivisie, 45 goals scored and only 5 goals conceded. Their bench players are starting to rack up ridiculous stats in the Eredivisie. It's too easy for them. They need to somehow translate this good form, sustained good form, to Champions League life. And the win over Lyon, that was a great start. But I still think they will move through, but they've got some tough matches ahead. I just think that they are a better team than Lens, and I think they're a better team than Sevilla right now. So, yeah, Arsenal, PSV.
I think Arsenal unanimously definitely ending first in Group B, and it's really interesting to see this battle between PSV and Lens. Lens is an underrated team. I think they did really well last season. Okay, they overachieved. And to see now them with 5 points next to PSV, that they're unbeaten, only wins in the Eredivisie. Good campaign in the Champions League from Lens. They deserve recognition. But I agree with you. I think PSV will be going second. Johan Bakayoko, Joey Veerman, Luke de Jong, a lot of talented players in this team. And Sevilla, look, Sevilla Europa League third. We always know what's on the drill with Sevilla. Don't be surprised. And it would be a pity to see Lens going fourth place. I don't think they deserve that to happen. But
I'll tell you what, watching PSV though right now, it's tough as an American fan because you've got Ricardo Pepi, you've got Malik Tillman, who are good enough to start. But because Guus Til, because Johan Bakayoko, because Luke de Jong, because Chucky Lozano coming in and just hot right out of the gates, it's impossible for Peter Bosch to shake up the 11. But Malik Tillman has scored some great goals. Serginho Dest and Tillman had a wonderful combination in the Eredivisie over the weekend. I think as they get deeper into this, my Americans are gonna play a part, but we'll see.
But let us know what you think about Group A and Group B until now in the comment section down below on YouTube. Group C now here. Well, it's not looking good for Napoli, but I'm gonna say Real Madrid finishing first, Napoli finishing second. I believe in my guys of Braga finishing third, going Europa League. They deserve that credit. Alvar Jaló, Ricardo Horta, Al Musrati. I love the coach too. Good to see what they're doing with Braga. And yeah, Napoli, look, it's a bad season in Serie A. They need reasons to be happy, and going through in the Champions League with Real Madrid in second, I think is a positive. Rudi Garcia out. Rudi Garcia out.
Yeah.
Out of
Rudi
Napoli.
Garcia,
Who should replace Rudi Garcia? Conte, Marcelo Gallardo, even Abel Ferreira convinced that man to leave Palmeiras and go to Napoli. Look, I've seen worse happen. Rudi Garcia is worse.
Rudi Garcia should have never been the selection in the first place.
Exactly.
But
no Osimhen, though,
really
isn't
interesting.
helping.
But no, it isn't. And okay, we thought Raspadori, we thought Simeone might be able to at least spell a little bit of relief until Osimhen came back. But the Kvaratskhelia-Osimhen duo running the ship at Napoli, we all knew that was the truth. We just got further confirmation of it. But yeah, Napoli losing to Empoli, not a good look. The good thing is they've done some work in this, and that the two other teams in here, Braga, though playing wonderful football in this UCL campaign, they are better than the other two, so they will get through. I just think that other teams will be looking at them in second, going through this group and saying, we want them next. We want them next. And that's either a good thing or a bad thing. But anyone that thought Real Madrid was only as good as Jude Bellingham right now, simply because of his ridiculous start to life at Madrid, they were humbled over the weekend because Rodrigo turned into Rodrigo, and that was a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see what continues.
Modric on the bench in that game, okay? And the thing with Real Madrid is Real Madrid, in their team, like the Real Madrid manager is the person that in UCL history has the most wins ever. Carlo Ancelotti, okay? The most wins ever. In second, we have Alex Ferguson with 115 wins. In third, Pep Guardiola. That I do believe that with due time, you will be surpassing both second and first. And we have in fourth, Arsene Wenger with 103 wins. History, football heritage. And Real Madrid doesn't have Bellingham, Courtois, and Tchouaméni. And they still balling out because they had the right decision of contracts extensions with Valverde, with Camavinga, with Rodrigo, and with Vinicius. All four players got contract extension. And they deserve it. Okay, the future of Real Madrid. La Liga winners, Champions League winners, experience at such a young age. The Galacticos are coming. So, Group C, we've said our predictions, but let us know yours. Group D now. We have a tough one here. It's the under the radar group of death with Real Sociedad, Inter Milan, Red Bull Salzburg, Benfica with 0 points. Inter and Sociedad both share 10 points. Both passing, Breton?
Yeah, I think they're both already in. It's just who finishes as group winner, and December 12th will decide that, where Real Sociedad will go to San Siro, and they will likely get knocked down a peg. As much as I like Real Sociedad right now, Inter is the better squad. So I think Inter goes through top, Real Sociedad goes through second. And to be honest, I think Benfica here, they still got a little bit to play for. They want to go to the Europa League. They want to, maybe become one of the better teams in Europa League and save something from this European season. No better way to do it than win your last two games.
Well, Benfica, to go to Europa League, they would have to at least get a draw with Inter and hope that Salzburg don't get points against Sociedad and then beat Salzburg. That they can do that. In Salzburg, it's a tough game because Salzburg did that, they lose. So Benfica needs to show their quality. Rafa playing better. João Neves always balling out. But Di Maria being present until 2024, David Neres will be out. So that is a tough blow. But I'm mentioning Inter. Inter are definitely favorites to win the Scudetto. Most goals scored. Less goals conceded. Acerbi, Bastoni, Di Marco, Dumfries, Barella, Lautaro. This is a team with so many references. Inter de Milan. I think they'll be finishing first, and they'll be winning Scudetto, as I said. So in Real Sociedad, I want to say a special shout out. I agree with Roger Schmidt. Real Sociedad is one of the best teams playing football right now in the world of football. Okay, the midfield, Oyarzabal, Kubu, Ander Baresha, so many underrated players. Check the Real Sociedad team that even has a Tierney out on injury. Okay, I was shook with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, and
let us
and
know.
and Ayhan Munoz has been phenomenal since then. I think he delivered the first assist against
And
Benfica.
they still have
But on
Mohamed Ali
hmm
Cho to have some
yeah,
minutes. And that is another
yeah,
wonder kid player that we saw at Sojourks in Liga. That is
yep.
another name to
S-
remember.
Slowly
Phenomenal.
but surely, slowly but
Exactly.
surely, he'll come along. He'll come
Group
along.
E
But yeah,
now here. We have a tough one. Tough one, no.
yep.
But it can be tough. Because imagine
No,
if Atletico don't go through. That would be unreal. But for the listeners,
yeah.
Group E right now has Atletico with 8 points in first, Lazio in second with 7, Feyenoord with 6 points in third, and Celtic with only 1 point in fourth place. I think
hmm
Celtic will be finishing fourth, but who do you think will be going through in Group E, Breton?
Here's my one shock, Alex. Feyenoord plays Atleti at De Kuip, and they will beat Atleti at De Kuip.
Mm,
Feyenoord will go through in first. Atleti will go through in second. But because we got to
bold.
talk about actually, yeah, and I'm pretty. It was a tough loss to Lazio,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Feyenoord's going to come back strong. And De Kuip is De Kuip. I mean, it's a wonderful, crazy, insane atmosphere. 12th man is very real in that place. And I think the Alvaro Morata 5-goal co-leading Golden Boot goal scorer in Champions League, that magic is going to run out. And it's going to run out in Rotterdam. So I'm going to say Feyenoord first, Atleti second, because they'll still get it done. Lazio third and going to Europa League.
I'll say the other way around. I'll put Atleti first and I'll put Feyenoord second. I think Griezmann right now is a top 10 player in the world right now in terms of form. One of the best players. He can play in midfield. He can play offensive mid. He can play at forward. So versatile and yet so good. Okay, I love to see Antoine Griezmann. But let us know
No love for Arnie
predictions.
Slot. No
Arne
love for
Slot,
Arnie Slot.
getting second
I know
place
you
is
love
already
him.
a lot of love, though.
That's true.
in my view,
That's
in
true.
my view. But it's really good to see the gradual work he's been doing with Senesi leaving, with Sinistera leaving, with Kokshu leaving, with Arshens leaving.
Yep.
Arne Slot still improves his Feyenoord team with Santiago Jimenez, Mats Wiefer, Igor Paixão, Calvin Stangs. So the way he still reinvents himself shows that Arne Slot is one of the best managers outside the top 5 leagues, in my view.
Yeah,
If we
and
count France
I
as a
really,
top 5 league.
and I don't think their defense has gotten as tight as it was last season. But
it's
Geertruida, Hanko,
Geertruida, so
Hanko
good.
still is great. And then they've got a new star in Quilinci Hartman, 21-year-old fullback that I
fullback.
think is going to be definitely on the radar of a lot of teams this season. But then again, if they're winning Group E, like I have somehow predicted here, maybe Quilinci Hartman doesn't have to leave anytime soon, and Arnie Slot can take the next step here. But
Well, Santiago
it is a bold
Jimenez
statement.
will be giving them a lot
Yep.
of money, though. I think we'll be close or superior to 80 million if he leaves that team. But Group F now, the real group of death with Dortmund in first with 7 points, PSG second with 6, Milan in third with 5, and Newcastle in fourth with 4 points. Only 3 points away from Borussia Dortmund in first with 7. What do you think will be happening in the group of death, Breton?
Well, Serhu Guirassy exposes Dortmund once again for their inconsistencies in the Bundesliga. I am not convinced by this Dortmund team, so I think it's a toss-up. But I
Having a
think
good run, though, Breton.
PSG, yeah, they've been having a good run. They've definitely been getting the results that they've needed, for sure here. But I'm not necessarily convinced. I think PSG, I think Mbappe will come to life. He will get it done. They will win the group, and then I think Milan is going to move into the next spot, especially after a big win for them in the Champions League recently. So I'm
But
with you in that Mbappe only has 2 Champions League goals. That needs to change if any of this is gonna.
No, but you're saying
can't-
big
can't-
win. I saw Lecce balling out and Patrick Dorgu, one of the best young fullbacks, under 18 fullbacks in the world right now. FM really popular in Football Manager too, which is understandable. Balling out against AC Milan.
Another Danish
and
baller,
Rafael
man.
Leão injured. That can be bad news, okay? At least for the Portugal national team, we won't be seeing Rafael Leão. But going with Group F, remaining in Group F, Fox Breton. PSG mandatory should be finishing first in this group. I know it's a tough group, but if Mbappe is the best player in the world, he needs to do better. 15 goals scored this season, 13 goals in Liga, 2 goals scored in the Champions League. He must be vital in the biggest competition in Europe if he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. And I think Mbappe feels that responsibility. And then you have a player like Zaire Emery showing so much talent in midfield too, next to Ugarte.
Co-leader in assists in the Champions League. 17-year-old and soon-to-be future French international. Soon. Really
assists
soon.
against Milan. Okay, 2 assists against Milan at home. But going with that, I believe PSG will be finishing first in the group of depth, Group F. And I believe AC Milan will be finishing second in the hope that Pioli will be staying in his job. Because if Pioli doesn't finish second with AC Milan or first in the Champions League, he is sacked. He is sacked. Yep. Because right now, the title race in Serie A is between Inter and Juventus. Pioli must do better. Must do better with the players he's handed. Reinders, elite replacement from Tonali. I don't understand. I can't understand what's happening at AC Milan right now. But Group G now, we got Man City with 12 points, with 12 goals scored, only 3 suffered, 4 wins. In first with 12 points. We got Leipzig in second with 9 points. And then we have Red Star and Young Boys fighting it out for Europa League. This is the easiest group to predict, right, Breton?
I mean, I'd say RB Leipzig had maybe a tiny little chance if they were playing in Leipzig. But you know, when they face City again, but no. Manchester City in first, RB Leipzig in second.
Because this was so easy though, Breton. I want to hold another question here because Man City first, Leipzig second in Group G. But will Erling Haaland be the top goal scorer of the Champions League this campaign?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you're going for Kane?
No, I'm going to go for Harry Kane at this moment in time. Harry Kane's getting a lot of love in this episode, and I think he deserves
the best striker in the world right now.
He is the best striker in the world right now. And I think there will be others that will come out of the woodwork. I mean, right now, your co-goal scoring leaders are Rasmus Winter Højlund with 5, right? And Alvaro Morata. I obviously don't think it will stay like that. So, yeah, will Haaland come in strong later? Yes. Will Kylian Mbappe come in strong later? Absolutely. Will Lautaro Martinez come in strong later? Absolutely. And Harry Kane will be up there as well. But I think Harry Kane is your odds-on favorite for the Golden Boot at this moment.
In the Champions League, I'm still going to go for Haaland, though. I think Haaland holds a lot of responsibility towards, if he's going to win any Golden Boot race, if he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, Erling Haaland must be the Golden Boot in Europe. And I think he holds that responsibility, especially if Man City win the Champions League back-to-back. He must be the top goal scorer of the Champions League in order to win the Ballon d'Or. I think Harry Kane will make his life very difficult. But right now, in terms of goal involvements in the Champions League, it's Morata and Kane, top with 6 goal involvements in the Champions League. And it's Winter Højlund and Erling Haaland and Saka, all with 5 goal involvements in the Champions League too. So it's interesting. 3 players from the Premier League in the top 5 of goal involvements in the Champions League. And all youngsters under 23. Winter Højlund, Haaland, and Saka. So this is a new era that we are living. And the last group here, Group H, with Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar, and Royal Antwerp. Come on, Xavi. You can't lose to Shakhtar. You can't lose to Shakhtar. There's no excuse, Xavi, for a poor result like that. But Xavi, Barcelona, I think they'll be finishing first in Group H, and I think Porto will be going through in second. The only Portuguese team in the Champions League going through, in my view.
Yeah, and, I think we need to actually check for the factual basis on this. But I believe that this is not the first time that Barcelona has lost to Shakhtar in the Champions League in the group stage. And the last time they did lose to Shakhtar, I believe they went on to win the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that Xavi's Barcelona, as it stands right now, is capable of winning the Champions League. But true. But they are obviously a whole lot better than that loss, that showing versus Shakhtar. So, yes, I agree with you. Barcelona will go through. And I think Porto, Evan Nielsen, he keeps scoring goals. Porto has a chance to be what everyone thought Benfica was going to be this season. They have a chance to go and beat up on some people in the knockout rounds. I think they will get second, and it just comes down to who they've got, who they get in that draw.
Evan Nielsen
yeah.
has 4 goals scored in the Champions League. He had a hat-trick.
He does.
Really good to see against Royal Antwerp the last 2 rounds ago. I agree. I think this Porto team with Sérgio Conceição knows what to do. Francisco Conceição, his son, had a goal and an assist against Vitória. Tough game this weekend. Galeno, Diogo Costa, one of the best under-23, if not the best under-23 goalkeeper in the world right now in terms of form. What a game he had against Vitória. Porto wouldn't have won that game, and the defense of Porto is not looking too good. So Barca in first, in second, Futebol Clube do Porto. And it's interesting, too, people. It will be the last time that we see the group stage format in the Champions League. It was so good while it lasted. I hope the next format is better, but oh my days, the memories of seeing group stages with 4 teams, only that's 2 top teams going through. Never forget me. Never.
Yeah.
Forget.
Now we're going to a actual league format, and what a way to kind of crystallize or send off the old format with Pep becoming the oldest goal scorer in Champions League history, which was kind of nice to see, was it not? And just a shout out. Yeah, and just a shout out in Group H, Shakhtar, who will go through, in my opinion, to the Europa League. They've got they always, and obviously geopolitical situation, straight out war going on there has kept Shakhtar from being able to uncover their normal Brazilian gems that they give a chance to. You can extend that to South American gems now, but they've got 2 within their system that we saw and will continue to see completely rough, completely unpolished gems. But you've got the young Newerton, who's new. I did not know Newerton is new. Go figure. And you've got Kevin Kelsey, 2 players that I think we're going to be hearing about. Give them a couple years to mature, to play, but they were balling out. They were balling out in Barcelona. At least they were faking it until they made it. But 2 names to remember in Newerton and Kevin Kelsey, to go with obviously Sudakov, who we like, and Danilo Sikan, who I believe was the one that scored that wonderful header against Barcelona. So just needed to shout that out before we moved on. But yeah, Pep scoring.
It's in Group H. We do believe Barca and Porto go through, but Sudakov, Shakhtar, and Arthur Vermeeren of Royal Antwerp are 2 players that the listeners must remember. 2 midfielders that both will be vital for their national team. Sudakov with Ukraine and Arthur Vermeeren with Belgium, okay? Unreal ballers. But let us know down below your predictions of the Champions League going through, okay, of every group. And let us know, did we get anything wrong? Let us know down below your opinions. And don't forget to like this video. So here with our last 2 topics here to mention here. We got but we have under 23 not under 23 strikers. You must remember, okay? You must know under 23 and some that aren't under 23 too, because some of them have been doing magnificent, especially in Copa Libertadores, that we'll be talking in this video. But if we're talking strikers here, young strikers, I wanted to mention first here Hendrick, okay? Because what Hendrick is doing is unreal in Brasileirão. He is 17 years old, and he's the youngest player since Ronaldo Nazário to be called up for the Brazil national team. Hendrick, 15 goals scored for Palmeiras at the age of 17. There's a reason why Real Madrid is so confident about him. And I even see Mbappe not coming out of Spain, okay? And I don't know if it's true or not, but I do believe Hendrick balling out, Vinicius balling out, Rodrigo balling out facilitates decision-making.
And just to add a statistic to that, he is the youngest since Neymar to score 9 goals in the Brasileirão. Neymar ended on 10, and I'm not going to say single-handedly because Palmeiras is a sum of all parts, but he is definitely keeping them in the running for the Brasileirão title, which is also one of the most entertaining title fights that you have to be watching, which we'll mention in a second. So yeah, Hendrick is just huge, and I mean, anyone that is not salivating at the mouth thinking about Hendrick, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Jr. all palling up
with
in
Bellingham
Madrid
behind
is
them.
going to be insane. Oh, my
And
God.
then you have Arda Güler, Nico Paz, Camavinga, Valverde, all under 25. But Nico Paz and Arda Güler more than like being the young hopes. Unreal to see. I mentioned Hendrik, but I want to say to another striker here before you get to Breton that I think is really... I got really sad seeing what happened with Evan Ferguson. Evan Ferguson right now has 10 Premier League goals scored in 2023. He's one of the best young strikers, not just in the Prem, but in the top 5 leagues too. And Evan Ferguson was asked, this was a question made to Evan Ferguson, okay, recently. I need to see what did you... So, okay, why... This is... Evan Ferguson got asked in an interview, why aren't you going to be committed to England? Why? That is embarrassing to ask something like that to an Irish proud boy like he is, Evan Ferguson. He just said, I'm Irish. So obvious, yet he needs to answer that question, okay? It's embarrassing to see, and it's good to see. No, not Declan Rice, not Jack Grealish, but Evan Ferguson being the reference of this Irish national team. So I wanted to give a special shout out because he is one of the top under 23 strikers in the world.
And you just got his extension, right, with Brighton?
Just got his second extension. Second extension in the space of a year.
That's great. Yeah.
Big racks.
And the funny thing, like, he hasn't put in great performances necessarily as of late, but I mean, not every striker is Erling Haaland, and not every striker is going to score multiple. And even Erling Haaland has had bad games. So I think everything is A-okay with Evan Ferguson, but it's good to get that confirmation that he is still Irish, which we obviously all know. It's just a joke. But yeah, you mentioned him earlier. I for some reason, did not focus on the U23s. I focused on kind of like the unloved strikers out there that people might not know about. And who better to bring up than Fluminense's Herman Cano. 44 goals last season for Flu. He had 37 goals this season. And previous to that, I mean, he's 35 years old, and he barely has a trophy to his name. And he just won Fluminense their first Copa Libertadores title, right? First Copa Libertadores title. And he did it by obviously being also the Golden Boot winner in the contest. 13 goals. Yeah, and I am looking at it. I remember Herman Cano's name when he came to Liga MX. I believe he was at Pachuca, and then maybe he was on loan to like Club Leon. But I remember thinking, man, this guy would probably ball out in Major League Soccer. And I don't want it to be a retirement league in any way, shape, or form. But at 35, with 70-plus goals to his name the last 2 seasons, I don't think he's retirement league, characterization. So Herman Cano, if you need a new place... I think there's quite a few Major League Soccer teams if you want to go up against Messi and have fun there. But then again, the dude's scoring goals, winning Copa Libertadores, and doing great things with Fluminense, and it's awesome to see.
At 35, German Cano, for what he's doing. I know it was John Kennedy, but German Cano was vital, okay, for Fluminense to win that Copa Libertadores. Good mention, Bretson. Yeah. I'm going to go here. If you're listening to podcast episode 131, link down below. Boniface, okay, is one of the best strikers in the world of football right now. I'd say Boniface is the second best striker in the Bundesliga. I'm going to put number 3 Openda, like Openda because he's in elite form too. 10 games, 8 goals, 2 assists. But Boniface has 17 goal involvements for Bayer Leverkusen. And I am so excited for the future of Nigeria in terms of striker. I think the 2 starters will be Boniface and Victor Osimhen. And if that's the bold striker duo, they have chances to win an AFCON and to have a deep run in the World Cup. Morocco is the best African team ever in the World Cup, getting to the semi-final in their last World Cup. I believe Nigeria has the hope to do better with Boniface, Osimhen, and another striker that I'll be mentioning here in the under 23 strikers that you must know. But Boniface, keep going bold. Keep going bold.
Well, that's 3 Rookie of the Month in a row for Victor Boniface. Boniface. Goodness, I can't do it. I can't say it for some reason. But I'm with you. Nigeria's future. If only they could start 11 strikers. It'd be absolutely wonderful because Boniface, Osimhen. Akor Adams is huge for Montpellier and Lyon. Gift Orban popped back up with a hat trick. So doing really well. But listen, Victor Boniface, he came from pedigree. His pedigree is in Norway with Bodo Glimt, you may recall, right? And I'm going to bring up another old guy. He's 33 years old, but he has been doing it for a while for Bodo Glimt, and probably because of his age, he has not found his way out of the Elite Serie, and he has also not found his way to a cap for Norway yet, and that's Amal Pellegrino. He has 28 goals, 22 assists in 40 games in all competitions for Bodo Glimt this season. And Bodo Glimt is no pushover, right? Bodo Glimt has been one of the more entertaining Norwegian squads next to Molde over the last 4 or 5 seasons. And Amal Pellegrino is one of the biggest reasons why. Last season, he had 47 goal involvements, and he already has 50 this season. And shockingly, he's only won the Golden Boot once with Bodo Glimt. So I just really think that I don't know the future here, but Victor Boniface comes and goes. Amal Pellegrino has been an absolute stalwart for Bodo Glimt. And if you don't know him, time to know him, because he has the Elite Syrian in the palm of his hand. And it's just a great thing to see. And, hey, maybe you could buy him for cheap on Football Manager. I don't know, but it's good.
That could be the case. That could be the case. And you mentioned in that Nigerian list a player that Gift Orban deserves special recognition. Gift Orban this season has scored the first hat-trick in the Conference League. He has 5 hat-tricks in 2023 right now, and he's one of the best young strikers in the world of football. And under the price of 40 million, Gift Orban is one of the strikers you must look on that list, okay? 5 hat-tricks this year, and one of those hat-tricks was in European competitions in the Conference League, the fastest hat-trick ever in European competitions, being 3 minutes and 24 seconds versus Istanbul. Gift Orban did that. Last season's stats of Gift Orban was 39 goals, 8 assists in 46 games. Absolutely unreal. He arrived to Ghent in January. And please remember the name of this player, because he'll be leaving real soon. Gift Orban, another striker you must know.
Well, my last mention, I'll just do it really quick. You mentioned Victor Boniface, we mentioned Harry Kane, we mentioned Lois Apenda, but Serhu Guirassy is back from injury, only 2 games out. And the crazy thing is Stuttgart lost both of the games that he was out. So anyone that thinks he, wasn't the reason they were cooking as well as they were cooking, up to second in the table at one point after being relegation prone last season. Well, he has proven otherwise. He's got 15 goals in 9 Bundesliga games this season. I mean, that's absolutely, I think he's Harry Kane's only real competition for Golden Boot this season. And he's played less games than Harry Kane. You give him those 2 games back, he's probably at like 18.
I think it's Boniface.
Yeah, but I mean, what I love about Boniface is he also connects, right? I think goal involvement wise, yes, but pure goals, I don't know. There's enough firepower. I mean, you got Jeremy Frimpong scoring goals. You got Grimaldo scoring goals. You got Florian Wirtz scoring goals. There's enough goals to go around, but I don't think Boniface is needed at a Golden Boot level for Leverkusen to take Bayern Munich to the woodshed to potentially win the Bundesliga. Whereas I think Stuttgart absolutely needs Guirassy to continue to score massive amounts of goals for them to even have a chance at top 3, top 4, or European competition last year. But Guinean striker, still relatively young, definitely likely going to leave Stuttgart as their most expensive transfer out at some point. I think previous to this it was, I want to say it was Ben Pavard.
I think he's got a release clause of 15-20 million in January in his contract.
You're going to ruin the party by actually doing that homework?
I think so. I think so, mate. It's not looking good, bro.
That's a bummer.
But the Bundesliga, with Gerassi, with Harry Kane, with Openda, all top strikers. But I want to mention too Benjamin Sesko, if this is a striker topic video. Benjamin Sesko, skillful, very strong, and he's got a lot to improve. World-class potential on him. I think Sesko should literally be in the transfer list of maybe an Arsenal, of a Chelsea, because he's got that level, that intensity. And Openda definitely is the starter in my view. Sesko right now, he's the best player. Like, Evan Ferguson is the best player of Ireland. Benjamin Sesko is the best player of Slovenia, no doubt. And he's got 23 games, 9 goals for his national team, and it's only going to get better. So I wanted to give a special credit to Slovenia. And I wanted to say Santiago Jimenez is a mandatory mention in the best strikers this season right now, okay? For Feyenoord, he's had 59 games, 38 goals, 6 assists, 11 games, 13 goals scored this season, and the numbers say it all. And getting that extension from Feyenoord was the best business decision they did, letting go Kokshu for 30 million, but letting stay Santiago Jimenez, that will be leaving the club for more than 80 million in my view. The best Mexican player right now, and Lozano's playing well.
Lozano. Well, unfortunately, there's quite a few Mexican players that are starting to pep up a little bit.
Fortunately, make it interesting between you guys. That rivalry. Come on.
That is true. That is
that
true.
fling?
I don't know. I like feeling confident going into these matchups these days, but you're right. There is no better thing for CONCACAF as a whole. There's probably nothing better for the U.S. men's national team than a really strong El Tri side, and obviously Santi Jimenez is going to give that for years to come, which makes me a little nervous, but we'll see.
But let us know down below any striker that we have missed. Who is your favorite under-23 striker? Who is your favorite striker that is showing under the radar that we haven't mentioned? Let us know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like this video. We have so many topics to mention, but we did talk about Hendrik, so I do think this should be like the last topic, because the Brasileirão Title Race is looking really, really interesting right now. Hendrik, boy, oh boy, Hendrik has 12 goals scored in 2023, and I hope Hendrik becomes a striker, not a winger, okay? Gabriel Jesus was that pure striker of Palmeiras that I thought he would be the pure striker for Brazil, but I think Hendrik, if he doesn't become a winger one day, we're talking here about the closest player to Ronaldo Nazário that we've seen leave Brazil. Hendrik at 17 years old, okay? What he has done, unreal striker.
And he, probably not single-handedly, but he has propelled Palmeiras into this Brasileirão insanity. That with not many games left, we're talking about 6 clubs in the Brasileirão that have a incredibly legitimate chance. They're all within 5 points of each other as the season comes close to an end. And it's funny that Hendrik is the one.
Breton, 5. Take Botafogo.
Well, Botafogo's still there. They're still technically there.
After seeing that Palmeiras game and the Grêmio game, I don't trust Botafogo to win the title. I can't.
John Textor in the mud, baby. John Textor in the mud. I don't get it. I mean, between Botafogo and Lyon, obviously John Textor has to go look himself. He's got to look himself in the mirror and say, maybe the problem is me.
At least Crystal Palace is working out, though. At least Crystal Palace is working out.
No, they don't play Chris Richards. It's not working out yet.
They extended Eze.
They did. That was good. And he's it's good to see that his diving skills are doing really well. No, sorry. I love Eberechi Eze, but yeah.
No,
anyway,
but
the counterpoint between Hendrik at 17 years old helping Palmeiras stay in the game and largely be maybe one of the favorites momentum-wise, right? Heading into the end of the Brasileirão season, and the counterpoint of Luis Suarez.
Oh yes.
Helping Grêmio with their 5th win in a row, propelling them right back into it. And I think, he's 36, so he's double the age of Hendrik, and scoring goals left and right. He also leads the Brasileirão in assists this season with 10. I just love the dichotomy between that, right? So yeah, if you're not watching the Brasileirão right now, it is Grêmio, it is Botafogo, it still has a chance. Palmeiras, it's Red Bull Bragantino, it's
Yes.
Flamengo, and it's Atlético Mineiro that are all well within their right to win this thing.
And
But who do you think is going to actually do it?
no, but before I say that, though, you mentioned Grêmio. There is a newly
Yeah,
promoted team, Grêmio. That's what's so
yeah,
mad
true.
about this. Luis Suarez joins this newly promoted team of Grêmio, and they're literally in the title race of Brasileirão. This is the best
Yeah,
league to watch in terms of entertainment, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah.
Botafogo with Luis Castro, top of the league, and they were going to win it. Without Luis Castro, all of a sudden, going to Al Nassr, they are in the mud. Segovia in
Yeah.
25 games, 2 assists, no goals. Where's Segovia?
Crazy.
He's not there. He's not there anymore. That's what I gotta say. And going with what I say about Suarez, Luis Suarez, I think, is gonna win the award of Rei de América, which is the best footballer in South America, and he completely deserves it for what he's done for Grêmio. 48 games, 23 goals, and 16 assists.
Now,
Go to Inter Miami. Go be happy
yes.
because you made Grêmio fans see history. One of the best
But,
strikers I've ever seen in my life, and still in Brasileirão, he shows that. Benzema
but
and Al Ittihad, he's not playing like Luis Suarez at Grêmio. He's not playing. It's true.
But listen, I mean, come on, how great of a sign off would that be, though? Have Grêmio win the Brasileirão after being newly promoted, and then he steps off into the sunset, wins the award of the best in the Brasileirão, and then he's off to Inter Miami to maybe turn around, and obviously with Messi, with Busquets, with Jordi Alba, become favorites to win MLS Cup in the 2024 season. I can't write a better script at this
I
moment
don't
in
think
time,
it's
but
gonna
just to
happen,
throw
though.
out, you don't think it's going to happen?
No.
You never know. But listen, I do have to bring up one thing because we've talked about Bayer Leverkusen quite a bit.
Mhm.
And one of their signings that just kind of never really panned out, and a lot of it was because of injuries, was a 23-year-old named Paulinho, signed for Bayer Leverkusen.
Yes,
It
me
just
neither.
never really worked out. Well, it would have been interesting to see him under
He's
Xabi
still young.
Alonso,
He's still
but
young.
Atletico Mineiro would be nowhere close to this title, nowhere close to even this race if it wasn't for Paulinho. He's got 17 goals. I believe he's the Golden Boot leader at this moment in time in the Brasileirão. And it's just really interesting to see him because kind of like Gabigol before him. Some people go to Europe and it just doesn't pan out. They come back and they're in a system that
Pedro too.
that plays to their strengths. Pedro too. It is just great to see him, and as you mentioned, he is still young. He can make the jump again if he ever wants to. But why leave a place where you are incredibly highly valued? Hey, you're a legitimate contender for a title right now.
No, and you're mentioning
So
rightfully so the Paulinho that did get called up for the Brazil national team. Fernando Diniz
that's true.
agrees with what
Yeah,
you're
he did.
saying. So it's a
Yeah,
debut in the national team for Hendrik and for Paulinho, okay, that
that's
deserves for what
great.
he's doing at Atlético Mineiro. But Hulk, okay, I'm mentioning Suarez big time.
True.
Hulk has a big hand in what Atlético Mineiro does, and he's got 12 goals and 7 assists. And we're not even saying
Hulk's making-
Atlético Mineiro to win it. So this is a
No.
really good team in the Brasileirão. Bragantino deserves a special credit. They have Pedro
Yes.
Caixinha, a humble team, a humble coach, and a humble expectations. I think if Bragantino gets top 3, it's elite, and it's a team that doesn't have the big pressure of Palmeiras fan base, Flamengo fan base, Botafogo fan
Right.
base, Grêmio fan base. Bragantino is a new team that I believe will be consistently in the competition to win Brasileirão in the next 5 years, because that's what the
Okay.
Red Bull Group does. They're
Yeah.
efficient. But you asked
And one
me,
of the
I'm gonna ask you.
yeah.
So I'm gonna answer it. Don't worry, Breton. But who do you think will win the Brasileirão?
I'm gonna say Gremio. I'm gonna say it.
What?
I'm gonna say it. I think
Grêmio!
Palmeiras has the upper hand right now, but listen, momentum-wise, 5 wins in a row, you can't fight that near the end of the season. And as long as Suarez is healthy and hitting them in, I think Gremio can do it. They're well within their right to.
And Flamengo. What do you think about Flamengo? Because Flamengo must be in the top 4 of the Brasileirão, okay? The roster that Flamengo has, no doubt it's the best in the Brasileirão, but I don't think they'll be winning it. But Arrascaeta, I wanted to give a special shout out to Arrascaeta that for Flamengo has 223 games, 59 goals, and 78 assists. If you watch Brasileirão, you know that this Uruguayan midfielder is a legend of Flamengo. And I would love to see him going to Europe one day in the future, okay? Maybe above the age of 30, but I would love to see Arrascaeta fancying his shot in Europe that he's won 2 Brasileirões and 2 Copa Libertadores. Arrascaeta.
Yeah.
But,
There you go.
okay, and they drew. Flamengo drew with Fluminense 1-1. I watched that game. It was quite interesting to see. And Fluminense with Nino, André, Copa Libertadores winner. We did mention Cano and John Kennedy, but André and Nino, vital players, and both called up for the Brazil national team too. Okay, I believe Palmeiras will be winning Brasileirão, and it's going to be the last season of Abel Ferreira at Palmeiras. The manager that won 2 Copa Libertadores for Palmeiras will be ending in style, with Hendrick leaving 2, with Rafael Veiga, one of the biggest legends of Palmeiras, with Abel, who's got 8 goals, 7 assists in this campaign. And I think, Palmeiras, they deserve it, and they will get it. So many players.
Abel Ferreira goes off into the sunset before he takes over for Roger Schmidt at Benfica?
Or Ruben Amorim going to the Premier League and takes over as Sporting. I legit don't know, but I think Abel Ferreira will be coming to Europe, yes. The Brasileirão is very tough, mate, because just like in the US, I'm sure this is one of the struggles of the MLS, it's the traveling. It's so much traveling. And Brasileirão, there's a game on a weekend, and then there's a game on the Wednesday. Then there's the state championship, and then there's the normal championship. Then there's Libertadores. The players are just playing nonstop. So it's very tiring.
They are.
And he mentioned it in his press conference.
It is, and some of the names of these teams, the teams that go down relegation wise, Vasco da Gama a little while back, Grêmio.
Cruzeiro.
I mean, these are names that if you don't follow these names, right? I mean, we all know Grêmio because of who? Ronaldinho, right? And you just don't ever expect that to happen. Well, it's actually pretty commonplace in the Brasileirão to see it. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, teams like Corinthians and Santos are not even a factor this season. In fact, they're much closer to the relegation zone than they are close to the top. But
Fluminense won Libertadores, and they're in 8th. The manager of Fluminense is the manager of the national team. And they're not even in the title race. And we're saying that Palmeiras 62 points, Botafogo 59, Grêmio 59, Bragantino 58, Flamengo 57, and the Libertadores winner not even top 7. Unreal. Brasileirão. Popcorn time. But let us know your thoughts about Brasileirão. Who do you think will be finishing top? And because it's bold predictions time, okay? So don't forget to like this video too for more videos just like this. Hey, Breton, is there any last mention we're going to do? And we can promise now for the listeners, episode 132, we will be mentioning big time the Under-17 World Cup because we'll have a lot more to talk about. There's Noah Darvish. There's Mark. Help me out, Mark. What's the surname?
Mark who?
Gui.
Mark who?
Gui?
Oh, my good. Oh, no, I've already forgotten it. We even did it together, Alex. We're failing.
Let's just know Catalan listeners, okay? What is the name?
Gui.
Mark Gui, the striker.
Mark
scored
Amara
in his debut. Amara Diouf, yes.
Oh, my God. Single-handedly beat Argentina. No, U17 World Cup, you're talking about popcorn. That's popcorn. Why? Because Argentina, Brazil, obviously always incredibly strong, but the African nations always have a play in it. Senegal, Mali, I mean, these are teams that actually could win the thing, as others have in the past.
And it's lovely to see Indonesia
getting a draw.
A debut. First ever goal in the Under-17 World Cup and the first goal of the Under-17 World Cup. We'll be talking all about the Under-17 World Cup in episode 132. Out every Monday at 6 o'clock, people. Tick in, watch episode 131 and then 132 because it's going to be both. Thank you for listening until now, and thank you for going bold another week with us with FC Wonderkid. Take care, people.